Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're gearing up for what is essentially the ultimate financial road trip. We're breaking down the complete 2026 guide to financial planning for beginners in India. And you know the absolute best part we found in this guide? You literally do not need a massive, high-paying salary to build lasting wealth. Nope, you just need a roadmap. And well, that is exactly what we are mapping out today. Let's get going.
So, have you ever wondered why some people who make fantastic money always seem to be completely stressed out, living paycheck to paycheck, while others earning a fraction of that amount just seem perfectly secure? The answer actually isn't about the size of the income. It's almost always a lack of proper financial planning. Basically, when you don't give your money a specific destination, it just kind of vanishes.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's Explainer. We'll start with the financial journey itself, then cover budgeting and emergencies, figure out how to protect our wealth, invest for our life goals, and finally, wrap up with how to avoid some really common financial mistakes.
All right, Section 1, the financial journey begins.
Think of this first step like packing up your car for a massive, exciting cross-country trip. You wouldn't just jump in the car with no map, an empty tank, and no idea where you're headed, right? Well, by definition, financial planning is basically just that. The process of managing your income, your expenses, and your investments so you can actually hit your life goals without all that unnecessary financial anxiety. The whole core concept here is that with a solid plan, every single rupee gets a clear assigned purpose. It's either buying you something you genuinely need or it's going to work for you. No more mysteriously disappearing from your bank account by the 25th of the month.
And this brilliantly illustrates the point. If you are driving from Delhi to Mumbai, you absolutely need a specific destination, a chosen route, enough fuel, and checkpoints along the way. Your financial journey matches this literally one-to-one. Your destination, those translate to your clear financial goals. The route is your budget. The fuel driving you forward is your savings and investments. And those checkpoints, that's just the periodic reviews you do to make sure you're still on the right path.
Moving right along to Section 2. Budgeting and emergency funds. Basically, packing the trunk.
Okay, before we hit the open highway and really start accelerating toward our goals, we have to organize what we have. The absolute golden rule before you invest a single rupee is to track everything. You need to list out all your monthly income and every single expense. Because, let's be real, you simply cannot improve what you don't measure. When people actually sit down and write out their expenses, they are universally shocked to find out how much they are funding 5 different forgotten streaming services, or impulsive online shopping habits, or just excessive dining out.
Now, what's really interesting about this next bit is that instead of the classic 50-30-20 rule you hear everywhere, financial planners in India often recommend a much more powerful, tailored approach once we've tracked that money. Look at this. 50% for essentials, just 10% for lifestyle, and a massive 40% pushed straight towards savings and investments. By intentionally keeping your lifestyle inflation in check and pushing that savings rate up to 40%, you are going to dramatically accelerate your timeline to absolute financial independence.
So what is the very first thing we save for? 6 months. That number right there is the absolute minimum month's worth of living expenses you must have saved up as an emergency fund. Now, obviously, if you are a freelancer, self-employed, or working in an industry that experiences volatile layoffs, you really need to bump that number straight up to 9 or even 12 months. This is your ultimate financial buffer against whatever unpredictable storms life throws at you.
But where exactly do we park this money? Will you want to keep it in a standard savings account, maybe a sweep fixed deposit, or a liquid mutual fund? But notice what is emphatically excluded here: stocks. Seriously, do not put this emergency money in the stock market. Your emergency fund is your financial spare tire. Its sole exclusive purpose is safety and immediate access when you get a flat. It is not there to generate high returns.
Which brings us to Section 3, protect wealth, eliminate debt. Time to put on our safety gear.
As we shift gears into these defensive strategies to protect against financial crashes, we have to talk about one of the most common and, frankly, most costly mistakes people make. And that's confusing insurance with investments. You have to understand the difference here. The purpose of insurance? Pure protection against disaster. The purpose of investments? Long-term wealth creation. Those traditional policies that try to mash them together usually yield terrible, below-inflation returns. You absolutely must keep your insurance and your investments completely separate.
So the crucial point is securing your essential safety gear, which really comes down to 2 things. First up, personal health insurance. Medical inflation is just soaring right now, and one unexpected hospital visit can literally wipe out years of your hard-earned savings.
And hey, even if your employer gives you coverage, you still need a standalone personal policy. Second, if anyone, and I mean anyone, in your family relies on your income to survive, you absolutely need pure term insurance. It's super cheap and it offers massive protection.
The final piece of our defensive strategy here is eliminating toxic debt. If you're holding on to really expensive loans like credit cards, which can charge a staggering 36% interest, you've got to clear those out before you start aggressive investing. Look at the math. If your mutual funds are earning you 12% a year, but your credit card company is draining 36% a year from you, your financial vehicle is basically driving with the parking brake securely pulled up. Paying off that debt is quite literally a guaranteed 36% return on your money. You just can't beat that.
All right, Section 4, Investing for Life Goals, Navigating the Route.
Let's move to this matrix and see how this all built. Now that we are fully protected, debt-free, and fueled up, we can actually step on the gas and build some serious wealth. Your destination timeline dictates exactly which investment vehicle you should be driving. For short-term goals up to 3 years, like a vacation or that emergency fund, you want safety. Think FDs and liquid funds. Medium-term goals, maybe a house down payment in 3 to 7 years, you want balance, so hybrid funds. But for those long-term goals over 7 years away, like retirement or generational wealth, you must embrace growth. Equity mutual funds, index funds, and the PPF. And this brings us to a concept that is just incredibly powerful. Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Now, whether Einstein actually said it or not, the math is completely undeniable. When you invest for the long haul, your money makes money. And then here's the magic, that new money makes even more money. Even a remarkably small amount, like 2,000 rupees a month, can explode into a massive fortune over a few decades. Seriously, time in the market always beats trying to time the market.
So, think of these as the specific Indian investment vehicles sitting right there in your garage ready to go. We've got the Public Provident Fund, or PPF, offering fantastic safety and tax benefits. The EPF is pretty much the bedrock for salaried employees. Then there's the National Pension System, the NPS, which is brilliant for long-term pension planning. Mutual funds, especially when you use monthly SIPs, are perfect for automating your discipline. And finally, direct equity, buying individual stocks. Highly rewarding, sure, but it requires deep, dedicated knowledge. Diversifying across a few of these vehicles is what guarantees a much smoother ride.
Section 5, Avoiding Common Financial Mistakes. Let's talk about the potholes on the road.
Look, every long journey requires some course correction. You really need to keep your eyes peeled for these massive potholes. Starting too late is probably the biggest wealth killer out there because you just lose the magic of compounding. Ignoring the silent thief of inflation will leave you totally short of your goals. Investing without a clear goal is basically driving blindfolded. And please, whatever you do, stop following blind stock tips from random influencers on social media. I mean, they aren't the ones paying your bills, right? Avoid these errors, and just remember that steady, consistent investing always beats trying to be a perfect market timing genius.
And keep in mind, financial planning is never, ever a set-it-and-forget-it kind of thing because, well, life happens. You absolutely must pull out your map and review your plan at least once every single year. You've got to adjust your route for major life changes, maybe an exciting salary bump, having a baby, or just unexpected detours. Checking in annually ensures you never veer too far off the highway to financial independence.
Okay, let's bring this whole explainer together with the ultimate 6-step action plan. First, relentlessly track and budget your money. Second, build that protective 6-month emergency fund. Third, secure your safety net with health and term insurance. Fourth, aggressively clear out high-interest debt. Fifth, start investing via disciplined SIPs that are mapped out to your specific timelines. And sixth, review the whole shebang annually. Honestly, just sticking to these 6 simple steps automatically puts you vastly ahead of the majority of people out there.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to ask yourself right now. What is the very first financial goal you are planning to achieve? Don't just watch this and move on, Take action today. Pick that first destination and start the engine. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible financial road trip through today's explainer, and I look forward to exploring our next topic with you soon.